Last month, I switched from my Sony a7S III to a RED Komodo. So this is something that I had thought about for quite a while, even before the big RED Komodo price drops that happened like a year ago, I think. There's a lot of different things that went into this decision and a lot of thought went into it. It is not one that I made quickly, but it came down to 4 main things that were my reasons for wanting to switch. Now, I feel like there's 2 different kinds of people who are going to watch this video. The kinds of people who are like, oh, that's an obvious decision, like the RED is a way better camera and like that's a better choice. And then there's another group of people who'd be like, wow, that is stupid. Why on earth would you get rid of an a7S III for a Komodo? And the funny thing is, I feel like I am both of those people. So in some ways, I feel dumb for switching, but in a lot of other ways, well, for more ways, I feel like it was the best decision for me. And if you're someone who either has one of these cameras or has no camera and is thinking about getting one of them, then maybe this video could be helpful for you. All right, without further ado, let's just get into this list. Number 1, image quality. Now, I did watch a whole lot of different reviews and YouTube videos comparing like the FX6 to the Komodo, the FX3 to the Komodo, but the biggest aha moment for me in comparing the image quality between these 2 cameras was actually several years ago. I was working for a media production company, and the production company that I worked for exclusively used Sony. So during my time there, I became really familiar with that Sony image. I became very accustomed to that look. And I remember the lead DP at that company, he had gone out and bought a Komodo for like freelance gigs. He started bringing the Komodo into the company and like shooting some of our client projects with it. So that was my very first experience getting to see the Komodo. I remember walking into our editing bay one day and he had a clip pulled up he was editing, and I was just awestruck. This clip was just gorgeous. And so I went up and asked him, I'm like, oh my gosh, like when did you shoot that? What did you shoot it with? And he's like, oh no, this is just the Komodo with a Sigma 18-35. I was so familiar with seeing the Sony image, and that stuck out to me as being something like really special and good. And when I first saw it, I didn't even know it was the Komodo. And then I asked, he's like, oh, this is the Komodo. I was like, dang, that's incredible. So ever since that moment, the Komodo kind of stuck in my mind as being a camera that I would like to use or own someday. And this has been the experience with some other guys that I know too. I remember when I was thinking about switching, I asked another friend of mine who's a freelancer, and he works with the FX3 and the Komodo, and I asked him which he preferred, and he said that when it came to image quality, just like pound for pound stops of dynamic range, like there's no comparison. The Komodo is just better when it comes to image. And so that was a huge reason for me. And that leads into my next reason, my career path. So something I decided a while back, comparing the different paths you can go down in this industry as a, content creator, media producer, camera guy, videographer, filmmaker, whatever term you want to use. I don't really want to go down the path of being like a production company per se. In the next 5 to 10 years is where I would like to be is, being a DP for like narrative content. So like documentaries, films, that kind of stuff. And so when I think about the kind of camera that someone like that owns and operates, it could be an FX3, it could be an FX6, but you got to keep in mind, like I had an a7S III, and so I felt like it was going to be harder to sell myself as a professional DP if my main camera was an a7S III, even if it made no difference and people would hire me whether I had a Komodo or not. For me, it was like, when I'm shooting spec work or whatever, for like the amount of money that I'm able to put towards this now, I want to get the best image quality that I can and get more practice working with a camera that's more geared towards that branch of the industry. Cost effectiveness. Obviously, everybody knows about how much the Komodo has depreciated over the years. It cost like $6 or $7 grand when it was first released. And right now, you can buy it brand new on RED's website for $3,000. And the used market is even better. Basically, you can get a full Komodo rig on eBay right now for probably like $3,500. And that's how much the A7S III cost when it first came out. So now these cameras cost basically the exact same amount. Well, no, because the A7S III is depreciated as well. So you can get an A7S III for $2,500 to $3,000, depending on, you know, timing and what kind of deals you can find on eBay. Like, the image quality of these cameras hasn't changed at all. Like, the only thing that's changed about them is their price tag. And so basically, like, I was able to sell my stuff and lose no money in switching to a Komodo. But it was the camera that I thought was more geared for what I wanted to do in my career. So, and reason number 4 is pretty much unrelated to anything else, and it's pretty much just my argument from emotion. So take it with a grain of salt. So really, just the thought of getting a Komodo after having the A7S III was really exciting to me. And I knew that once I got this camera, it would make me want to shoot more, just because, like, it's a sick camera and I've wanted one for years. And I knew that it would inspire me to want to shoot more, because obviously the more you shoot, the better you're going to get. And it just keeps you sharp and makes you better as a filmmaker. And so the Komodo was going to do that for me in a way that the A7S III never really has. I think maybe when I first got the A7S III, I was excited to shoot with it, but that wore off pretty quick. And in a perfect world, I would have both. I would have just kept my A7S III and used that for like weddings and events and YouTube videos, and then had the Komodo for more of like the narrative style stuff or the passion projects. But unfortunately, I'm in a position in my life where that's just not really realistic at the moment. So anyways, I'm really excited to be the owner of a Komodo now, and I'm excited to shoot more stuff with it. There are definitely going to be things that I miss about the A7S III, like the amazing battery life, the amazing autofocus, the small file sizes, the compact form factor. I think a lot of people, including myself, consider like the FX3 to be pretty much one of the greatest cameras of all time. And to get rid of that for a camera that's maybe a little bit less reliable, you know, horrible battery life, giant file sizes, you know, super long boot up time, just generally difficult to work with, you know, it seems kind of dumb. But I'm willing to put up with all that stuff for the better image quality. It's worth it to me, at least at this point in time. And like I said, down the road, I would love to be able to just own all of the cameras and then just, you know, use whichever one is best for the given project that I'm working on. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.